Star Trek on the whole is a science fiction franchise focused on space exploration. I will be focused mainly on what later became known as Star Trek: The Original Series, which first aired on the 8th of September 1966. Star Trek, both the original series and the franchise, quickly became known for its commentary on social issues of the day and its unflinching tendency to address delicate issues. The original series ran for just 3 seasons, with the final episode airing on the 3rd of June 1969. Several more TV shows and movies would eventually grow out of the foundation of the original series. These would continue to explore the nature of the human condition and make commentary on important social issues, sometimes for the better, sometimes not. My first exposure to Star Trek was probably Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. I remember laughing as Scotty tried to operate a quote-unquote ancient Apple computer. The first episode of the original series that I watched was probably The Devil in the Dark. I was fascinated by the concept of silicon-based life, which was brought up by that episode. I first liked Star Trek because it was funny, or because it raised interesting scientific questions, but I think a more important reason I liked Star Trek: The Original Series was because it wasn't afraid to address sensitive and complicated topics in generally uplifting ways. One of the most basic ways in which it did this was by including Nichelle Nichols, who played Lieutenant Uhura, a main character. Whoopi Goldberg first saw Star Trek as a child and recalls reacting with surprise at the presence of a black actress who was not a maid. She later cited Nichols as an inspiration for her career, which included a number of appearances as Guinan on Star Trek: The Next Generation. One of the things that fascinated me early on about the original series was the story my father told about how the series was saved by the fans when it was about to be cut after its 2nd season. Star Trek had struggled for ratings since it first began airing, and after its 2nd season, Gene Roddenberry, who was one of the executive producers, appealed to a couple of fans he met at a science fiction convention, John and Betty Jo Trimble, to help preserve the series. John and Betty Jo spearheaded a letter-writing campaign resulting in around 111,000 letters to the studio and a 3rd season of the show. I very much appreciate the tendency of the original series to support traditional Judeo-Christian values, as in the episode Who Mourns for Adonais, where Captain Kirk says, quote, "Mankind has no need for gods. We find the one quite adequate." Another example, the episode The Ultimate Computer, refers to the laws of man and God being of benefit to society. I believe that one of the purposes of art is to inspire people to live better lives, and, in my opinion, Star Trek: The Original Series has certainly lived up to that principle. So, what is happening now to the franchise that I love so much? Not much that is good, in my opinion. For background, there are 2 live-action TV series in production, Discovery and Picard. Star Trek Discovery has a couple of seasons out, and Star Trek Picard will premiere early next year. On top of that, there are 2 other series, both of them animated, which are in the works. I have loved at least part of every official Star Trek work that I have ever seen, with the exception of Star Trek Discovery. The producers of Star Trek Discovery seem to see themselves as having a mission to be, quote-unquote, socially responsible. Though I understand the legacy of Star Trek as having been somewhat liberal, it was traditionally presented in such a way that a person with a conservative worldview could still watch and enjoy. In previous iterations of Star Trek, the race or gender of a character didn't seem to have that much impact on the overall story or feel of the show. The simple question was, is this show or character or movie good? The producers of Star Trek Discovery seem to be pushing the idea that their main character, who is a black woman, is a good character because she is a black woman, not because she is in actuality a good character. In my opinion, the main character, Michael Burnham, is a rather annoying character. She complains a lot and seems undisciplined. What is the point of a show with quote-unquote diverse characters that isn't actually a good show? The producers of Star Trek Discovery have openly stated that one of the races of aliens on the show, specifically the Klingons, are supposed to represent supporters of Donald Trump. There's a war between these Klingons and the Federation, which are supposed to be the good guys. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to guess that the producers of the show are probably politically left-leaning. With all this in mind, it seems reasonable to suggest that some of the people who run the show want to divide people by their political affiliation instead of bringing people together, as they have done in the past. I find this attitude to be utterly disgusting. I would like to hope that the new Picard series with Patrick Stewart will be different. However, based on how things seem to be working out, I believe I might be disappointed. I have only one final point, and it concerns Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which was the third Star Trek TV series after the original series. One of the cast of Deep Space Nine, Aaron Eisenberg, who played the character of Nog, recently passed away. On the 25th of September 2019, Aaron's son created a post on Reddit thanking everyone for their condolences and the stories of how his father had impacted their life through his portrayal of Nog. I myself spent some time reading the comments on the post, which ranged from veterans who were inspired to deal with their post-traumatic stress disorder to children who were inspired to be actors or otherwise seize opportunities before them. In spite of the problems currently plaguing Star Trek, it will still have great value in my eyes for bringing people together, entertaining them, and inspiring them to live better lives.